Hey guys, Ace Guy here, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the update changes, or the weapon stat changes in update 204. So to set the stage, this video will not be talking about any of the contents, like the dragon heist, the music, the DLC, the achievements. None of that will be mentioned in this video, mainly because I've yet to experience it, because I don't have the DLC, and because my game legit has been just having a railroad of just crashes. That's likely because of a mod I have, so I'll look into that. But for this video, I'll be looking at the weapon stat changes, or the weapon stat adjustments for this update, as these weapon stat updates are in response to the beta from last weekend. And what I mainly want to talk about in these stats is the sniper rifles. But before I start about doing that, I'm gonna go through every other one. So like the shotgun, the SMGs, I'm gonna go through everything else that they changed. Then go focus in on the snipers, because as you all know, I am pretty much a sniper main. I mostly do snipers on Payday 2. They're just quick, reliable. They just pack a huge punch, especially with like crits and Zerk. So I'm gonna go in great detail, giving my opinions on the changes and everything here. But I want to go off and out on everything else, give my opinions first before I dive well into it. So for shotguns, they increased the increase in damage at close distances has been removed from all shotguns. So pretty much what that referring to is, for those who don't know, in the weapon rebalance beta, or I'm just going to say the open beta from last weekend, they introduced a new system called damage range multipliers. So pretty much what that was, that there was a new stat for weapons called optimal range, and if you hit a target within that range, you would get a damage bonus. If you go beyond it, for some weapons, if you went beyond it, it would be less damage. If you're within it, it's more so. So to put it in perspective, weapons such as shotguns, for example, their optimal range was pretty much, from what I remember, from somewhere from 0 to 15 meters or 10 meters. I may be wrong from that, so take what I say to it with a grain of salt. If I don't say it if I don't say it verbatim from the patch notes, take what I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, I believe it was 0 to 10 meters, and it wasn't just you did get a damage increase within that, but the closer they were means the more and more optimal range, quote unquote, they were in, the more damage they would do, and pretty much that made shotgun just pop every single thing at this point blank. And that's the thing though, with these damage range multipliers, it pretty much broke a whole bunch of guns, made some guns absolutely useless, made some guns make absolutely no sense. Like it was really bad. And then onto the submachine guns. So pretty much mainly what this did, the easiest one to understand here is that the signature SMG, the ammo pickup was increased, and for the damage range multiplier side of it, and yes, this isn't I'm not, also just to clear something up, I'm not reading off the beta patch notes. No, this system was implemented and is implemented into the live vanilla game, but they adjusted it accordingly, so it isn't as just outright broken as it was in the beta. So that's a little bit of extra context. For the SMGs across the board have their optimal range increased, and the penalty for going beyond it decreased. For me, that's really good change, because SMGs such as the Krinkov, the Para, and the CR805B, those SMGs, even beyond their quote-unquote optimal range, they could still hit like snipers and stuff at like 30 meters, 60 meters, especially for me, the CR805B, the one I'm better with. I'm confident in being able to hit snipers from, say, 60 meters away. But with these damage range multipliers, that made that nearly impossible, because one, the damage was just so low, and two, I would just waste more ammo, and the ammo pickup on the thing isn't necessarily the best. So these changes, while maybe not perfect, is way better than it was before. For akimbo SMGs, pretty much the updated multiplier system has made the SMGs actually usable, because in the beta, past straight up, for some of them past 0 meters or past 5 meters, they were just outright useless. They were useless. So same with the SMGs, akimbo SMGs, they've had their damage range increased, and they also reduced the penalty for using it beyond that range. For LMGs, which is right here, the recoil patterns are back to normal. Like because they were changed, they were different in the beta, I believe, and then but that they were just like switched back to normal. You know, it wasn't how they were before. They nerfed the M60. Personally, I never really used the M60. I never really was into it, but I did notice how stupid it was. So I do agree with these nerfs right here. But the RPK and Brenner 2-1 got a hard nerf in my opinion. So their ammo pickup has been, well, from a 310 to a 6.7. And I know what you might say is, wait, wouldn't that be a buff? Well, it's sort of a nerf, but not necessarily an insane nerf. It's more just like a stabilization in of sorts for stat changes. So, but considering that the weapons are pretty bad stability overall, not hitting at least optimal amount of 10 bullets kind of suck, it really is. And the assault rifles, they're no longer affected by the damage range multiplier system. I feel like they mainly do this in response to the resurgence of the DMR AMR 16 and the CAR 4 and all that. So it's good how they changed it and all that, but if they're gonna, I don't know, if they're gonna introduce a whole system, I feel like it's best that they apply it to all the weapons so there isn't confusion. I feel like since the ARs, there might be a shakeup in the casual community of Payday where like ARs might be more prevalent in the casual sense, but maybe for like the hardcore players, it won't be as hard of an effect, probably more of a variety that will be provided with that change. So it just depends how you play Payday. Are you casual or are you hardcore? And what I distinct from hardcore is casual is mayhem and below. What I distinguish you as high level player is Death Wish, mostly Death Wish, some Death Sentence, and hardcore Payday players, Death Sentence 1 down. That's what I'm distinguishing here. So you got casual, mayhem and below, high level, most mix between Death Wish and Death Sentence, hardcore, Death Sentence 1 down. And my favorite change, in my opinion, overall in this entire changelog, is that the Gewehr 3 Eagle Heavy Rifle and the Valkyra have their ammo count for their magazine increased to 30. For the Eagle Heavy Rifle, and Gewehr, this is actually really well, because both of them are pretty high damage weapons. The drawback for them was always their reload speed. No, not reload speed, I apologize. Their ammo count. Even with Surefire Basic, 35 rounds was still not enough, even for a regular bulldozer. Without anything like crit, high value target, or Zerk, 35 rounds was nowhere near enough for just a regular green dozer on DSOD. And about the Valkyra, in my opinion, the Valkyra is one of the most favorite weapons to just look at and just the feel of it. Because I just like the Valkyra so much, because in Modern Warfare, the thing just destroys. If you're playing something like if you're like playing respawn modes, you can just like boom 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 with the AS Val in Modern Warfare, because not only did it have high rate of fire, you could also get the 30 round magazine, and in Search and Destroy, you can do the same thing, boom 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 boom. But the drawback for it was that like it only had a 20 round base magazine, but if you unlock the 30 round, you had that choice. And for pretty much the entire meta of the AS Val, that is default. But unless you're doing SND, if you're doing SND, you might be able to switch it up by just having 20 round mag, by having the sleight of hand, but that's beside the point. And the Valkyrie, the AS Val was one of my weapons that I liked using, and I always fantasized of having that same application into Payday 2, but the problem was there just wasn't enough ammo to just rip and tear through the enemies like I could in Modern Warfare. There just wasn't enough ammo, and The recoil, while insane, still somewhat controllable to a degree, but kind of crazy. But I do like now that has a 30 round ammo count, but like I still question to this day why didn't they add like a 30 round extended mag when they released the Soko character pack? Like I still wonder that to this day. So for pistols, the Peacemaker revolver, reload time was reduced. That is a happy welcome change, improvement, quality of life improvement. And the Deagle pistol's total ammo has been increased to 60 from 50, and that's something I honestly don't know. I honestly don't really know why they did that. Maybe to even out the fact that you can have a 15 round magazine and on some cases, or even more. But to be honest, I don't really know why they made this change, to be completely honest. Maybe just to have even number for magazine to reserve ratio, but I really don't know. And then for high damage pistols and high damage revolvers, they also reduced the penalty for using it past the optimal range, which is nice
because, and the reason I say why reducing the penalty is nice, because keep in mind, with this damage multiplier, pretty much damage fall off, we do less damage across a certain range, but a heavy zeal from that exact same range will do the exact same damage to us. And then the beta, that was just outright horrible. It's a bit alleviated now, but there's still the question of like, why make us have to like pretty much play in a way for them to come closer, though the AI is usually just staying back, pop shotting us from like 5 years away, doing 225. Like, that's the thing I'm kind of annoyed with this damage fall off system. And I'm not alone in saying that. Plenty of people have that same sentiment, like Carrot and KevKilled, who I'll both link below because they're really cool. Mainly I personally like KevKilled because just one, he's just clean. He's just super clean on his plays and everything. Though he does have those days where he's like really bad and stuff, but I personally like him. So for the pistol, for semi-automatic pistols and fully automatic pistols, they have their separate change logs. For fully automatic pistols, their damage bonus from close range was removed, so they don't, because if you didn't know, even before the damage range multiplier system, the G18s or the Strike 18C, Akimbos and the single could like fully, mostly the Akimbos, maybe the single if you could like make a specific build for it, but mainly the Akimbo strikes will just rip through a minigun dozer in outright seconds. In those seconds I can count with one hand. And with the initial damage multiplier system, increasing that even further at close range, yeah, those things were just made broken. And for these single and akimbo pistols, they have separate things now. And yeah. And for the semi-automatic pistols, low damage semis and low damage semis and medium damage semis have their pickup rate increased. Low damage being from 3 to 7 to 6 to 7, and medium damage going from 2 to 4 to 3 to 4. So welcome change as everything. And then the high and very high, that being like the Deagle and the Castigo, those have their pickups increased from 1 to 3 to 2 to 3. And finally, Akimbo, low damage Akimbos have had their damage increase from 37 to 53. And I want to pull up these screenshots, and I want to say thanks to my friend Sam. He was able to provide me these screenshots to show you how they look and everything. So so I just want to show you here that how they have changed the Akimbo Beretti 9. It's a low damage, high ammo, and here it's on the console version, because unfortunately with the current state of console, they just not getting any updates anymore. It's really unfortunate. It's really sad, but just it does have, I guess, the unintended plus side of providing like comparisons for before and after. And on the talk of console, I feel like the Xbox One and PS4 versions are gonna end up becoming completely different games, like their legacy 360 and PS3 counterparts compared to PC. That's what happened with 360 and PS3 when they got their support dropped, and this is pretty much the same thing that's happening with their current or last gen consoles now. It's really sad, really unfortunate, but just how it is, really. So yeah, in the changelog it says low damage, high ammo has been changed to 53 from 37. You can see here, it's still 37 on console, and for medium damage it changed to 80 from 65. They're either cross skill pistols. It's a medium damage, medium ammo. There's the damage values. Now the old damage values, the current damage value is now 80. Here's the 65 from before. It's now changed to 80. Now that is everything that I've went through generally in the patch notes. Now the part of sniper rifles. So as you all know, I am a sniper main. Like that's what I use. I use snipers. I always use snipers in Payday 2. On pretty much any map I play, I use snipers. And the only time I'm not using a sniper is when I'm using the only times I'm not using a sniper, I'm either using a Grim with Dragon's Breath or a CR805B. Those are the only times I'm not using a sniper. So I'm gonna read off the patch notes or the changes for the snipers in this update from from the patch notes. The decrease in damage at close distances has been removed from all snipers. So to explain this, in the beta, these snipers were pretty much useless and pointless at close range, because at point blank range all snipers would do half their damage, but at their optimum range they would do up to like 2 times their damage. And then that made it even worse off because the Thanatos, a gun that does over 1,000 damage, does half of it at point blank, but double at that confused a lot of people. That hard nerfed the snipers, and that what made the assault rifles and the DMR starting to come back. That's the reason why they started coming back, because the snipers were pretty much pointless at that close to medium range where the ARs and DMRs were good at. But thankfully, now the system is now added to the live game, that change was rectified. So whether it's at point blank range, it will do 100% of its damage. Thankfully, because I'm not trying to shoot. Because already you can take down. I'm pretty sure you can take down a minigun dozer with 5 shots to Thanatos, I believe. And I'm not trying to have that be 10 with this 50% less at point blank. I'm not gonna say much about the very high and high having changed their optimal damage multiplier. It's been decreased, so they're not absolutely insane. Overall, I find this to be a good change, just making sure nothing is extremely overpowered. I want to touch on the medium. So for medium damage snipers, that would be the R700, the Rattlesnake, and I believe the things like the Repeater and Rangefinder as well. I don't know how those tie into it, but I believe those count as medium damage. Or no, it would be low. I'm not 100% sure, but that's changed there. And these 2 points right here and this last point right here are the 2 I want to talk about, because as you all know, the Contractor is essentially, in my opinion, the best sniper rifle in the game. Even before the beta, it was really, really good. And these changes in the open beta and the changes in the beta and the accidental changes right before the beta just skyrocketed the freaking stupidness of the Contractor. Because in before these changes, the only thing that truly held back the contractor was because it wasn't extremely spammable. Like, you could spam it, but it wasn't like extreme spam. But when they accidentally added in the beta changes, the not only did they increase the damage for the contractor to 210 with Fast and Furious per card, they also increased the rate of fire to a 200. And just so you know how that looked like, I want to show you how that looked like. Okay, let me show you how stupid that looked like. That 200 looked like. So that was 200, but when the beta came out, it wasn't a 200, it was a 240. That was 240. That was 240. And a person who's really skilled at using the contractor could spam it at an insane range, and on top of that, with the damage multipliers at that far range, you would just melt literally anything. Bulldozers would just be down in maybe a quarter of your magazine. And it was just stupid. It was insane. The contractor did not need this sort of buff. And yes, things like the Grom and Lebensauer, they get similar treatment in terms of the rate of fire, but not so much in the damage department. Though thankfully, there in this update, they did reduce the damage bonus at far distances to 1.1 instead of 1.6, because that's just stupid. That is insane. And they changed back the rate of fire to 160 for all of them. So it's pretty much back to where it should be for the most part. And that's pretty much where I want to end it here. I just wanted to talk about just the weapon stats and everything, and just to give a little insight on my opinions and thoughts. Maybe you might have learned something, though I doubt you did, but if you did, that's cool. Alright, hope you guys have a good day. Subscribe and enjoy your day. See ya.